The beta is back, and with that, we finally have Evoker, Fire Wizard, and it's insanely good. It's doing every build on this Condi, Power, Inferno, non-Inferno, doing around 50k plus DPS, plus giving us a quickness build as well. And all the gameplay of these builds are very different. Honestly, I was not expecting that much out of the DPS builds, but Jesus Christ, they're very fun to play, and we're gonna go through them right now. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Go to my Ko-Fi if you want to support my content. Go to my Twitch to watch me live every morning, and let's get into it. Now, right now we have around 4 actual builds for Evoker. We have Power Evoker Inferno, Power Evoking Persisting Flames, so no Inferno, Power Quickness Evoker with a hair. And actually, I forgot to mention, Power Evoker Persisting Flames also has hair instead of Fox, as Power Evoker Inferno has. And we also have a Condi build with Pistol this time, all being very fun. And there's a few builds that are a little bit of a meme that we're gonna go through that I actually tested out yesterday, and they were pretty funny. And they were also doing like 50k DPS. So the first build we have right here is gonna be the Power Evoker Inferno, and this is the one that everybody's been waiting for because it obviously has specialized elements. The trait that lets you have one single element, and of course making you be Fire Wizard. I was a little bit afraid of this build. I thought that maybe it would not be fun, that maybe it would not be too interesting because you're stuck with one element, but it absolutely is in terms of a DPS player, because the rotation becomes something completely different. What this trait does is that every time you use one of your weapon abilities, instead of giving you 1 charge of your familiar, it'll actually give you 3. And once you actually finish the 3 big ones, you're gonna see that the cooldown of my abilities is gonna go down by 10 seconds. So you charge 3 attacks again, and then 3 attacks again for the 3rd time, and you will get yourself a special attack that will recharge all of your weapon skills. Then you just keep going over and over again, trying your best to get as much cooldown reduction and as much weapon attacks as you can. This build, honestly, is pretty intense. To press the weapons spells very fast and press your Fox as soon as you get the 3 stacks, and keeping all this on track so you can actually use your 10-second cooldown reduction in the correct moment. It is a lot, actually. You can definitely miss it and make it worse for you and do less damage, but it's very fun to do. I was testing this out yesterday on Dragon's End, and it was super fun. And everybody that was using this build was absolutely blasting as well. You can see here that the only people doing a bit more damage were like Amalgams and a Mechanist for some reason, but it was doing incredible amount of damage, and I'm pretty sure this is around like 50k DPS right now if you play it correctly. It's pretty funny to me because this was supposed to be the like easy build for Elementalist because you're only in one attunement, you don't have to switch around. But because of how fast it is, it doesn't really feel like it. It feels like it's actually super intense. Of course, it's super simple, but to get to the top level, to actually be super good at this build, is gonna be something that is gonna be hard for you to do. It requires a lot of dexterity in your hands. And not gonna lie, I never considered Elementalist the piano class. I think people have been a bit misled because of this. It's not really, and I play piano, guys, so I would know. But it's just not really that hard. It's pretty slow most of the time, especially on something like Tempest. But this build, this spec overall, it does feel very piano, but in a good way, and only if you want it to be. Of course, you can go check the builds. I'll leave it in the description down below on Snowcrows, so you can check all the equipment and all the stuff, all the utility and the rotation and everything. But there you go. The second build is actually gonna be for Persisting Flame, so you don't have your single attunement, and this plays way more like a normal build for Elementalists would do. You use Scepter Dagger. You're gonna be using Scepter almost all the time because of the way that Scepter works. It's very instant, and you want to be as fast as you can when pressing these buttons because, of course, you want to get as much stacks from the familiar, right? So Scepter just works very well. As I said before, this plays way more like your normal build would do in Elementalist. You just press the same buttons that you would do in a Power build. You go between air, between fire, between earth, right? I think at some points you actually go through water as well, just because of you going so fast into air. as well, but it works very, very well. It's pretty fast in this manner, but this is the first time I ever done it, and I already did 36k. I wasn't even paying attention, I'm not gonna lie. I really like the fact that you actually bring Hair's agility as well, the little dash that you do. Instead of using the fire only, and of course you have your elite as well. As all these other builds have, where you use all of your special abilities from your familiars. The cool thing is that you can just change to Familiar's Blessing here and become Quickness whenever you want, which is super, super nice. Switch in between those two, between being DPS and between being full Quickness. It's almost the same setup as before, as the other build that we were talking about before, but sadly you have to change your runes, and you have to get Relic of Bloodstone, and you have to get Scepter Dagger instead, so you will need another equipment for this. Now here we're going for some builds that are not really ready. They're not on the Snowcrow's build side, but I've been kind of looking at what they've been talking about and how it works, and this is what they've been testing. Full Vipers with Trapper Runes, Tear Bursting, Sillage of Malice, Relic of the Fractal. Now, as I said before, this will be in the Snowcrow's build. I've been checking the Snowcrow's Discord to see what they've been talking about. It's not like I thought about this. I mean, it is what we thought it would be, but of course it just requires more time to be perfectly optimized. You're gonna be going with Firefox, of course, and there are two versions of this. The normal version with Persistent Flames and the meme version that we're gonna talk about after, okay? There you go. Take a little picture if you want. And this one's gonna work like, you know, like every Condi build on Elementalist with Pistol. You just go in, you blast all your sigils and use all your fire attacks, go into Earth, use all your stuff there too, go into Earth for just a little second there and go back to fire, keep doing your stuff. I know I fucked up the little things right here. I know that it's not perfect or anything, more for the Snowcross video if you want, but I want you guys to just know that this is indeed possible, and you will do a good amount of damage while doing this, and you can play this, right? It's just, you know, Condi build that you would do on Tempest, but this time, instead of Tempest, it is indeed your Evoker, which is pretty fun, I'm not gonna lie. Having to, you know, keeping track of your box at all times while you're pressing all the buttons, it is indeed very, very fun. I really like Pistol, it just works fine, but it doesn't really change that much compared to what we used to have. Now the second version of this one does change a lot, because instead of going Earth, you go for Air. And I know that sounds a little bit crazy, because it is. But the thing is, you go for Pyromancer's Puissance, and I'm not gonna say that this is gonna be meta or it's gonna work. This is a complete meme, but it's a very, very funny meme. Because this time you also go for Scepter and Warhorn, and you're gonna see that we actually go into air a lot. And why is that? Is because we have fresh air. Recharge air attunement on a critical hit. Gain a ferocity boost when attuning to air. And you also have Pyromancer's Puissance. After a short delay, release a torrent of flame. Allies also grant might, while damage and burning is increased based on might on you. And this triggers every time you go back to fire overload. And that means that you can do this, guys. Start on fire, go to air, go to fire, attack one time, go to air, go to fire, go to air, go to fire, go to air, and just keep triggering the Puissance over and over again, because it doesn't have an internal cooldown, which is very, very funny. I was doing this yesterday and doing like 40k DPS. Now, I think I saw someone in the Snowcrow's Discord talking about how they're doing like 45k with this. And it's just very, very funny that you can do this by just switching between air and fire over and over again. It is so, so, so funny. I'm sure this is gonna get fixed by the next time. So if you really just want to have a little fun with this, it's not too overpowered, but it's super funny. It's super intensive in your hands. Like, you have to be pressing the button super, super fast, and the faster you press them, the more damage you do. So, but hey, it exists. It's pretty funny. There you go. We also tried to do a build with Spear on the build that we're talking about. The first one, the one with Inferno and with specialized elements. And the idea was that because you have your beautiful spear, you can just continuously use your etching volcano over and over again, because you can just get the cooldown back from your ignite. And the idea is sound, it makes sense, but sadly it doesn't really work out because there's not a lot of burning in this build, which is funny because it's fire, but spear is just a very like power condy weapon. So you end up, yeah, you're able to do another etching and it's very cool, but it doesn't really matter too much at the end. You end up not doing that much damage. I tried this on air as well, and it doesn't really feel like it does very well. Maybe there's gonna be someone who fixes and finds a way to actually do this in a better manner and you actually do more damage, but it just doesn't seem like the idea really works out. Sadly, the thing about Spear is that it's kind of made so you change in between attunements to get all of the etchings, so getting only one, even if you have lower cooldown on it, doesn't really work out. People have been doing the entire like meteor shower reset with the Firefox on Warp's World. As you can see here, Taigeta has been trying this, which is actually pretty cool, and refreshing that meteor shower to just do it over and over again. It doesn't seem too strong, but it's nice that you can do it. And I'm sure that we're gonna get way more cool stuff the more people go into this Evoker spec. So definitely keep an eye out on the Elementalist section of Snowcrow's build site so you can check. I don't think healing is gonna be very good. I think that's why nobody has been really going for it right now. But the power builds, the economy builds have been very good. A few little things that I discovered while playing this spec and I've seen around people talking about. One, I thought that maybe you could actually use your Conjured Fire Greatsword and use your F5 to recharge one of these abilities, but it sadly does not work. I tested it out. It didn't really do anything. It didn't recharge the weapon skill, sadly. This might be a bug. This might be intentional. I don't know. I'm gonna report it and see what happens. You can also precast your stuff with your little heal ability, right? And you probably will want to start your fights with your familiar skill maxed out before you go in there. You can even like change, like, I don't know, start on air with a full thing, right? Well, it has to be almost the full thing. It cannot have the 3 empowered skill charts. It needs to be 2 out of 3 and 6 out of 6 on the basic skill chart. And you can actually just change in between, and you don't actually lose your power. So you can just do this. For example, let's say that it's easier to charge on air, you can just do this, or in water, because you actually can just hit yourself with heal abilities and you'll be able to get your maximum amount of stacks, is what you see right here. But there you go, that's all I have for you today. All the builds that we have I guess I had the idea of the fresh air, but someone else did it before me. Ugh. But what the community has been discovering, so definitely go check them out and have fun with them. And I'm gonna try and make a video for this for all the other specs. Overall, I think Evoker seems very fun. I think, you know, healing is gonna need a little bit more work to give the boons that it needs to actually be competitive. But I'm pretty happy with how the DPS builds have turned out. Use your utilities for the new spec, which is very good. You have different types of play styles, which is super cool as well. I think, as I said before, I would like that spear would work. I would like that there's some other weapons that will work instead of just a scepter and dagger on PvE. And scepter, well, I guess you have scepter and focus, scepter and dagger and scepter and focus, right? But I don't know. There probably will be someone trying like sword or whatever very soon, honestly. I don't know what I'm complaining. We haven't really seen what the best builds are gonna be, and it's Elementalist. Most of the time, even if there is a main build, you can play it, you know, for just 100 less DPS with like sword or whatever you actually want. So yeah, you know what, I'm not really worried. I think they'll make it work, and I think that even if right now you don't go for scepter, I think it makes sense. You can probably make it work fine with sword. You can probably make it fine with work fine with dagger. I think catalyst is gonna be catalyst hammer catalyst. I think with hammer is gonna work a little bit worse because of all the cast time that it has, and therefore you're not gonna. It would just be better to pick another weapon that has instant casts, so you can get as many of those familiar stacks as you can. But I think overall, I'm very heavily satisfied with the new Evoker spec, more than I thought it would be. I would be, so maybe I'll have to put it on S+. We'll definitely end the week on Friday with the new Elite spec, with the new with the finish of this beta, with a tier list on the ones that I had the most fun with. But yeah, pretty happy with this. Very happy with this. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Go to my Ko-Fi, like everybody here, to support my content. AIM, Soidelian, Miragon, Trader Boys, Tilt, Neko Meko, Seawix, Minimart, Double, question marks, Say, Snapzor, the big boy, Clevendigant, Mindbowen, and J Mungus. And see you guys around. Love you all. Ciao, ciao.